actually the art of Jitsu is actually to be non-violent. Anyone who's a true practitioner of any martial art, not just Jitsu, will be telling you that actually, if you like, the fighting element is just a small element of what the martial arts is about. It may be necessary, but it's not sufficient in itself as a practice of any martial art.
This is one of our two nationals events in the year. This is the Randori Nationals. The focus on this is judo, and although we are jiu-jitsu, the judo in this is allowing us to focus on the throwing and some of the ground fighting skills that are actually very much part of our art.
We have a common ideal, common syllabus. We all learn the same thing at the same way. So it's just the way, almost like a language. As we all speak the same language, which is the way we do stuff, our movement, it's almost like we are coming together as one club. So you'll have somebody from Scotland or somebody from Cornwall, all able to do the same things, saying the same things, acting in the same way. It doesn't mean it's any less effective because, you know, it's not like Strictly Come Jitsu dancing. What it actually means is that we have a common idea or goal and we can work towards it.
I'm quite nervous because this is my first nationals that I've ever been to. I've been to regionals where you train every day, but I've never taken part in a contest before. I'm not hugely competitive, so I'm quite nervous, but I'm really excited as well, and I really hope I do well. So, but looking forward to it, definitely.
But the weekend is not just about competition. Twice a year, members of the Jitsu Foundation come together as a family, not as individual clubs. This gives the opportunity to train with different people, to learn from different instructors, and to test their skills with other people. In the process, they reaffirm their belonging to the wider Jitsu family.
In reality, I've joined a club, but it's more than that because you've got your one club which you learn with and you become friends with very closely, and you sort of bond with that group, and then you come to events like this and it just expands. While there are club rivalries, there's no sort of bad blood between them. It's just everybody just goes together, and it's like a big family with a lot of like competitive streaks. So you drive each other to sort of improve and to just enjoy yourselves and have a lot of fun. So it's like a big group of friends that just get together every so often and beat each other up.
The entry level is that most people do this as a martial art because they have an essential fear around individuals assaulting them or a fear of violence. That's usually what brings people through the door. Or people who are lacking in sometimes self-esteem and confidence, if I don't mind saying that. I don't want to stereotype people, but that's a kind of rump of individuals. What we tend to do is once they access this and they access this world, they get the fellowship of belonging to a group of people, which is true of most sports and activities. But they also get to improve their confidence about those real life situations. By the time people have been practicing this for a year or two, their goals, in my experience, have changed. They're often doing this because they enjoy the art, as well as the idea of learning how to defend themselves. And the art becomes of much more paramount importance as they get better and better. So by the time you see people like you'll see here on this map, black belt standard in our style and above, they're not thugs or animals wandering around wanting to learn how to hurt people. They're actually people who are developing themselves, and they're doing it through the use of movement and through the use of understanding their relationships with other people. I know that might sound a bit kind of metaphysical, I don't mean it to be, but it's quintessentially some of the changes.
People usually realise in the first session that actually the the things that the instructors teach, that they can say, go out, learn this yourself. I'm just a door. I can show you the door. It's you that walks through it, and you can do the same to your life outside. I mean, every instructor here does that in one way or another. It's just about whether you've got that drive to do it yourself.
Jitsu for me, foremost, was a martial art I took up to learn some self-defense. That was the first thing I learned, and then after that, I learned how to control myself, my mood, the way I act, and then, in other words, how I control other people. That could be either in a conversation, or even in a street conflict, or even a conflict over an argument over anything.
My primary school teacher ran the local kids club, and she was just a really, really good teacher. So it ended up that my entire primary school was in that club, and I joined, and it was really fun, so I kept at it.
I started because I went to university and wanted to join a new sport, and in the freshers fair, the Jitsu lot were really friendly, and they said, I remember saying like, oh, I can't do that, and they said, we've got girls on our team who are so much smaller than you, and even they can throw the big guys, so I thought, why not give it a go then?
You say many people who come to Jiu-Jitsu, it's due to an idea of needing more protection, self-defense, yeah, that little bit of personal safety. And yes, you get that. You get the idea of how to protect oneself, how your body can best be used to defend yourself or your family. But more than that, you get an idea of fair play, of respect, of joining with a large group of people, as you can see, and having a shared interest. So although people come to learn protection, and they do get that, they do also get this wonderful extra extended family, which you can see behind me.
It's changed. My attitude towards it's changed. I take it a lot more seriously now.
Right.
And well, I have to. I've got a lot more responsibilities, but I still really enjoy it, and it's still something that I do and a skill that I can have that I'm doing with my friends. So the main essence of it is exactly the same.
In Japan, the original martial arts, the jiu-jitsus, the bujitsus, or warlike arts, were practiced by the samurai. Not exclusively so. You might want to forget the kind of movies that kind of project that image. But essentially, the problem with the martial arts in Japan by about late Victorian period in Japan was that it actually had lost its credibility to a certain degree in Japan. The original warlike arts involved practitioners from clans who went out and practiced what they preached. They were violent, essentially. So the concept of practicing some of the elements of jiu-jitsu, which is a broad art, but by taking the violence out of it, the suffix do is used. So judo means the act of Jew or gentle art, do means in a gentle way or manner. So judo was the practice of throwing from jiu-jitsu in that way, in a gentle way.
Here we're doing Oso Tagari, a typical throw we would teach to novices when they first start Jitsu. Here is a Randori example of Oso Tagari. This is Tai Toshi. This is taught to green belts. And here is the Randori example of Tai Toshi. Finally, Ipponsi Inagi. This is being done in the style of the Nagana Kata. However, we would normally teach this to yellow belts. And finally, a Randori example of Ipponsi Inagi. Okay, the difference between the Randori version and the Jitsu version is that the Jitsu techniques are done as self-defense techniques typically from a punch, where we're trying to use the attacker's momentum in his punch to throw him. In the Randori version, it's where we do it in our Randori contest, where both players are trying to throw each other, and it's up to one person to break the other person's balance and move them to throw them.
See it from somebody, slowly, yeah, but with flowing movement, okay? You two, perfect. In with the head, tight, tight, tight. Use that to help you more. You need everything to help you. Yeah, a bit more of that, yeah? Weren't quite deep enough. You need extra throwing. You don't even feel like it. It's on your head, yeah, and starts elbowing you. And then you go about it. Yeah, okay, let's back. Very last chance, you've got about 2 minutes left. Good. I don't want you to do a quick thing. What I want you to take away from today, is that every time you train, you're training to protect yourself from somebody trying to knock you out or worse. Yeah? That's why I'm here. Okay? To defend myself. Yeah? Oh, I like to have fun and play around with techniques. I can't get any tighter here, yeah? If I'm here, lean me in the face, you get the idea? Yeah? Once your partner starts knowing what they're doing and they're training with you to help you learn, okay, you realise that you need to get tight. Get the idea?
I know 4 or 5 people that have had to use Jitsu in real life. There's some cases where it's just like generally the falling. I think break falling is the most important part of what we do in Jitsu as well. It's like if you basically fall over outside, you slip on the ice, you can roll and fall from it and land safely. So little things like that, you know, that helps in addition to obviously the fighting style side of it.
If I want to put it simply, we're custodians of this art. No one here owns this entity, formally. This entity is something that's transmitted on from generation to generation. So it's natural to have some kind of link to our past. You know, some of the techniques that my colleagues and I have taught here today will undoubtedly have been taught in different forms 500, 600, 700 years ago, even 1,000 years ago. So actually celebrating that tradition, I think, gives people a sense of pride. It also gives people a feeling that what we're doing is established. It's not just something that was invented yesterday in some fly-by-night garage somewhere. The foundation has kind of grown over the years from a very small roots in a couple of small towns in the north of England to a few university clubs to what we see today is over 100 active clubs within the UK. And arguably over 5,000 practicing members at any one point in the year.
I think it's getting very large now. It started as a very small thing really. A guy called late Shian Brian Graham brought it over from Australia, and he started the first club in Keighley in North Yorkshire. One of his students, a guy called Pete Farrer, who also very unfortunately died some years ago, was a superb Jitsuka, and he took it around the university clubs, and since then it's just mushroom clouded really into what it is now, and it's still growing.
How we're organised is really twofold. One is to do with the actual practice of Jitsu, We have an organisation, our own governing body called the Tertiary Board of the Jitsu Foundation. That's people who practice at the highest levels of Jitsu. Those individuals are responsible for grading standards and the standards of the practice on the mat. There's also an organisational group who are responsible for a lot of the administrative and other aspects of Jitsu, which is also, as you can see from an event like this today, quite an onerous undertaking.
Because we're not just looking at how we can improve, we're looking at the people we are improving ourselves and seeing the talent that's coming up and trying to nurture that talent. Because at the end of the day, you've only got so much lifespan in any activity before age catches up with you and the next generation has got to take over.
Our job centrally is to maintain standards on the mat. It's not to define the atmosphere of every single club in the country, but it's to maintain the levels of standards of this art. It's also important for us at the senior end to actually help develop people, to pick out the future talented individuals who are going to take Jitsu forward over the next few decades.
On the technical board, you sort of get invited onto it. You'd have been a third Dan for quite some time, and at some point, someone will decide that it's time that you started making a contribution in this area.
I suppose these days it's a big hierarchical sort of structure of senior instructors to manage it and keep it moving forward.
Yeah, I think there are several challenges we have at the moment. I mean, the first is like, we're in a recession, to be very obvious about things. We always try to meet the challenge of how can we make this practice on the mat as universal as possible, which means how can we make this practice on the mat as cheap as possible to people. That is one of our off-the-mat challenges. I think the on-the-mat challenge is the fact that we're a dynamic entity and the martial art keeps developing. And actually, at the moment, because there are so many instructors and so many, we give people a freedom and so many instructors developing this art, sometimes we have difficulties catching up with some of the developments. As I said, we're essentially an Eastern martial art with a Western philosophy of how can we improve this. One of the other challenges is our Junior Jitsu Foundation entity. It's growing to the stage that we are now going to have to develop more instructors to cope with the demand in the future in that area. So I think there's quite a lot of challenges. The last challenge I would say is, and I think this is something we're all very conscious of in this particular martial art, is how we avoid strategically the stereotypes about martial artists. It's really important to all the senior hierarchy in this organisation that we don't just fulfil a negative stereotype about the martial arts.
Tribe usually denotes one singular thing that puts people together, whereas you can see we have a diversity of people here from different races, different countries, different backgrounds. Yeah, we've got everything from doctors through to people who clean windows, all able to mix in a very eclectic environment and all able to practice this martial art.
I met my fiancé through Jitsu, so it's become a way of life more than just a hobby.
But it impacts on my family wonderfully. I met my wife doing this, she's an instructor also, and my kids both train as well. So it's a family event. And that is the great thing. Not only do my family participate, but when I come away to these events, it's like all the instructors I've met over the years, we're all one big family. It's like an extended family.
Exactly, Jitsu is a family. And my husband, he's a first Dan Jiu-Jitsu, and we met doing Jiu-Jitsu, so it's good for relationships as well.
There is some form of, not legal requirement, but there is an onus that we protect our people. Yeah, and of course, getting the best people in to do that is always the best thing, because at the end of the day, Jitsu is a martial art. There's going to be injuries, and for the instant injury, we do have the St John's ambulance here doing a fantastic job with the ice and everything else. But for long-term people who are carrying the odd injury, we have masseuses just to make sure they don't aggravate them. And it's no legal requirement. We think it's best that we keep ourselves in the best shape possible we can.
No, it was yesterday. I got a bloody nose. It was awesome.
My arms are covered with bruises. I've suffered a fair few, sort of surface injuries through Jitsu, and it's never put me off it, never. It's all part of it. You just got to kind of take the good with the bad.
Well, yeah, it was in the Randori, and when I went down, my head must have collided with her on the way down. And I could feel it sort of starting to bleed, and then I heard the sensei say, oh, they've got 20 more seconds, and I thought, oh, I'll be fine for 20 seconds, yeah? And then it started, just went, and it was, as you can see, I've still got a little bit of blood there. as it was quite funny. It's actually the first time I've ever bled in Jitsu, which is astonishing. I can't believe I've got this far and like not bled yet.
I pulled a muscle in my quads doing break falling.
Nah, it's only a bloody nose. It's like, I've seen people with a lot worse, like literally lying down, like knocked out, you know, it could be worse. So I think it makes them just like, oh damn it, I can't believe I've got knocked out, or did this, did that, so yeah.
It hurt a lot, and so I had to go and see the sports therapy team who just sort of gave the leg a massage and tried to work the knot out of it.
My foot's going to be on TV.
Although we have a central course syllabus that allows us to talk the same way, speak about the same things, and move the same way, we have lots of things that are, so to say, off syllabus. We've got such a vast array of instructors with various knowledges in various things, one of them being shiatsu. And yes, shiatsu, although not a recognised part of our syllabus, is very integral in what we do.
Great.
Peanut Jitsu.
Yeah.
If you're going to learn how to break people, you should learn how to put them back together as well. And that is a central idea of what we do.
Jiu-Jitsu has been a lot of my life. It's been a family to me. It's been something that I use to motivate myself, not just in Jiu-Jitsu to achieve my best and get my black belt and my degrees of Dan's, but also to actually apply outside my life into my degree and my master's degree, and hopefully will lead me into a PhD. It's something that I use not only within my sporting and academic achievements at university, but also something that can improve my career prospects.
Well, it's a big part of my life, really. I teach twice a week. I have done for 10 years. I'm involved in quite a lot of national projects, moving around the country, specifically the Naginakata work we're doing, the Randori work we're doing. It's a very big part of my life. I've got a lot of friends from it, and I'm sure I'll get a lot more friends in the future, so big reason to stay involved. We're not really a naturally competitive organisation. Everything we do involves working together, and I think that's quite important. I like Jiu-Jitsu because quite often you get the sort of students who wouldn't normally go to some other martial arts that are more physical and more competitive. And I like helping those guys come on and getting the best out of those people.
To make sure you take
not actual physical techniques, but I like to think that I use my Jitsu sort of in my everyday life because it gives me a certain confidence. It's predominantly a hobby, but it's done a lot for my life in that it's given me a lot of confidence, it's given me a lot of opportunities to travel the world. I met my fiance through Jitsu, So it's become a way of life more than just a hobby. You start with some really shy people who come with the same intention as me, with trying to look less of a target, trying to increase their confidence and hope to look after themselves a bit better. And you see that happen for them, and it's great that they get what they want out of it, but it's also great self-satisfaction as well to know that you helped them learn that. I've visited places in the world that I never even dreamed I'd go to. I've been, in the last couple of years, over to South Carolina in America. I've been to South Africa, both Cape Town and Johannesburg, and they're just places I never would have even dreamt of going to if it wasn't for Jiu-Jitsu. So it's definitely broadened my mind and my horizons a lot, as well as my confidence.
This is my holiday. It means good fun, good exercise, a lot of learning new stuff, and also getting back here to see all my friends. And you make new friends every year when you get here. And even though you only see them like at the Jitsu Nationals and Randori Nationals, you remember them. You might not remember their name, but you'll walk up to them and say, "I know you. You're the one who did that thing, right?" And I think that's a really nice thing.
Jitsu is a means to an end. It is. It's not. At this stage that I'm at now, it's not about learning new techniques and learning new ways to defend yourself. It's much more about a kind of a journey, and it's much more about personal development. The benefits of doing Jitsu are numerous. It's not just about physical fitness. You will learn to be more confident. Your demeanor will change. You will just be a stronger person in terms of your character. It helps you in so many different ways. It challenges you to do things that you just don't expect your body to be able to do.
I think anything, and I suppose this is getting, I don't want to get too political with it, but anything that gets people focused as collective groups, by definition has to be a good thing in society. Getting people connected, getting people to relating to other people. One of the things I would say about Jitsu is that by definition, you're every week getting in people who would probably not mix with each other or socialise with people from different stratas and age groups in society, actually mixing with each other. I don't see how that can't be a good thing. You can argue that's true of most other kind of sports or activities, but I think where this is concerned, there's a message with it as well. And the message is about confidence, self-control, self-awareness.
If people want to take charge of their streets, their neighbourhoods, look after things, I mean, that's what we want. We want a good, clean, safe society, don't we?
I think it gives people discipline. I think it gives people a sense of well-being, really. Obviously, I think it keeps people out of trouble, and it gives them, I think, because of the nature of the way we train our martial arts, it probably keeps people out of trouble, rather than making people think, oh, I'm a jiu-jitsu guy, I can handle this situation. It's like, let's avoid this situation, and that's very much the way we train, very much the way we work. I think it's done a lot of good for a lot of people.
Clear-minded people who know exactly what they need to do to resolve a situation and can articulate it because they've got a framework in which to talk about it will always be an asset.
I should confess maybe something to you here now. I'm actually a clinical psychologist by training, and one of my interests is about human behaviour and how we alter attitudes in terms of human behaviour. I think fundamentally what we do here on the mat, by definition, encourages a certain set of values, particularly in children and adults. And that those values are not necessarily the values that people would necessarily pick out on a simple list. You can't practice a martial art like this if you're just on a mat out there to hurt people. You have to be able to look after yourself and correspondingly look after other people. So there is actually quite a strong caring ethos to this. As you get better at it, the only way you can really practice this art is in cooperation, not necessarily in competition. And I think there's some of the core values to me about it. And the third is, if I can say it, is that if people come into a martial art like this because essentially they want to learn how to protect themselves, you learn fairly early on in the first few years that that's just a tiny part. You know, we've had individuals who hold very high-powered jobs in society who have argued that the practice of jiu-jitsu has made them more confident individuals. It's really, this is the belt system and the coloured belt system. There's a misconception that that's an Eastern concept. It's actually a Western concept.
Belts become darker as experience is gained. Although highly prized, they are never kept but passed on in successive gradings in the belief that they become imbued with some of the previous owner's experience. The final belt is the black belt. It is the exception and is retained by the Jitsuka, and over time, with continued training, fades slowly back to white, thus completing the circle.
The referee signals the start of the contest with hajime and touching both contestants on the shoulder. Red is seeking to gain advantage by grabbing a limb in order to flip White over onto her back. White is countering by grabbing the Red's limb and seeking to do exactly the same. This is just a battle of wits at the moment, both trying to gain advantage by controlling the opponent's hips and shoulders, enabling them to turn them onto their back. White can grab around the head, but cannot stay there for more than about 3 seconds before getting penalised. Red went for the legs, White now goes for the rear legs. Nice counter by Red, dropping her weight onto the arm that was attacking. White is starting to take a rear position, nicely countered by Red, who holds onto the gi and seeks to grab hold of White's leg outstretched. They were gaining no advantage on each other, so the referee restarts the contest with Yoshin. And we start again. White's immediately in, seeking a top position, grabbing the gi, pulling the arm through, hoping to flip through. Red is countering nicely by pushing with the hands on the hips, and there goes White into a position known as Yoko Shigatami, turning into Katagatami. So transitioning through, and going into Munigatami, nice position. Red has countered by rolling onto her front. As she transitioned from Kata to Muni, Red was able to take the position off and roll in. You will know that one of the contestants has a hold down, as the referee will hold their hand above the combatants and say Osakomi. And we're off again with Yoshin. White comes up onto one leg, which is allowable, although both feet well, at least one knee needs to be on the floor. White is controlling red's hips by placing a leg in between. Red counters nicely. Again, another battle for position as one person seeks to gain advantage in the balance. White goes onto a back but rolls out. They are out of the safety area. The referee will stop the contest and bring them back into the centre to restart. And again, we go with Yoshin. Both judoka turn to each other. White stands on her feet briefly there for a moment, but gets away with it, seeking to gain control of the left arm of Red. Red picks her up in a counter position, White just dropping a weight over. Red has got hold of White's leg and her arm and is seeking to flip her over the top. White is countering by putting her right leg out. Red turns into a seated position, White pushes her down. And the referee stops the contest again. And Yoshin. Both parties seeking to do exactly the same thing. White has managed to turn her onto her back beautifully. Not quite there yet. Unfortunately, she's managed to twist out and therefore no hold down was in place. White is controlling the head and the arm and the torso and therefore getting major control over the hips. Red is countering well, going into a flat position. Unfortunately, this is a completely defensive position and makes it very difficult for her to score any points or gain any advantage. The referee starts them again, as it is very difficult to turn Red over from the flat position. Back they go in. Red turns in with an aggressive move. White counters by popping her over, but unfortunately Red manages to turn again. There we go, there's the Osakomi. She's got her held down. White has her in Osakomi. You can see the referee with his hand over the top. Oh, Red does a wonderful job of bridging out. Absolutely wonderful, getting just one shoulder pinned now. They continue to fight, they're really going for it, and the ref has called time. The combatants will now adjust their dress while the ref takes some advice from one of the four corner judges and will then make a referee's decision. The referee's decision will be based on who has shown the most aggression and who has had the most success throughout the contest. Unfortunately, as we did not manage to get a clear hold down, the decision will be a kits, which is a judge's decision. Kits to White. Well done. And on to the next contest. Hajime. The girl's a little more cautious this time. White struggling to get control. Red falls onto her back, White pulls on, takes advantage. Oh, nice recovery by Red. This really is quite a tactical battle. You can see them grabbing limbs. Nice turnover by Red, and she's got her straight into a classic Kezagatame. This is going to be very difficult to get out of. You can see the Osakomi with the referee with a hand over the top. White seeking to bridge and turn her hips, but Red has really got her pinned down. That's a lovely hold, lovely head down. You can almost feel the crowd screaming and shouting, squeeze, squeeze. White's doing a really good job, but Red has pinned both shoulders. She's not going anywhere, and there we go. The ref calls it. The combatants will now adjust their dress, stand up, ray to each other, ray to the referee, who will then give the decision. Ray to each other, ray to the referee, Ippon, and a victory. Shaking of the hands, bit of a smile, and off they go. Hajime, and off they go. White pulls him back. Oh, that's an illegal move. Just taking off the one arm. There you go. Stopped by the referee. Pulling on the arm, putting on a joint lock. And they'll restart. Nothing malicious, just good old enthusiasm. Pulling it back behind his back. The referee's now explaining why he stopped the contest. It's a safety issue, which is always first in these competitions. And so they restart. Yoshin. Nice turn. Red taking up a single knee stance. White pushing him through with the additional advantage of balance. Red trying to counter using his legs. And White's into Kezagatame. And he's not quite got the shoulders pinned just yet. There they are, Osakomi. Oh, that's a tough one. Now Red will try and bridge his way out, but he's going to struggle. He's going both ways. He's not being dynamic enough in order to bounce White out of position. You can see the referee keeping a close eye so that there's no strangle, there's no distress that's occurring. And there we go, and the referee will also be keeping a very close ear out for the timekeeper. He's called time, they've started, and we'll have a decision. They ray to each other, ray to the referee. Ippons are white and victory. The referee calls the contestants into the centre. They ray to him, they ray to each other. And Hajime, we're off. These are two big guys fighting. Looking, oh yes, going in for it quite quickly. Look, oh, Ouchigari attempt, nicely countered by red. Diashibarai attempt by white, countered by Diashibarai by red. Countered by him dropping to the floor. This is quite a good fight, they're really going for it. Uchimata attempt, white by white. Red pushes him down using its superior bulk and weight. And now they go onto the floor. He's looking for an armbar. Oh, lovely counter by white, who gets into the top position. Now he's stand up, which makes the referee stand both parties up and restart. Any contestant gaining their feet during the competition, during the ground fighting, restarts standing on their feet. They're looking much more cautious now, but they are going in. Ouchigari attempt by white. Red holds him off with a good strong arm. Both looking for an advantage, but both looking to pull the other off, slightly off balance, just for a second. Kosadagari attempt there. Sorry, Osadagari attempt. And pulling red down. Very interesting, looking to turn him perhaps to go to an Iponsi Inagi attempt. But no, pulls him through, goes for Uchimata again. Oh gosh, Ouchigari into Uchimata, nice attempt. Red counters well by dropping the weight onto the back of white. And now he's looking to do a strangle. He'll be pushing the hips out, trying to flatten him out in order to get to the strangle. And white sees the danger and regains his feet. Competition restarts. Yoshin, and they're off, looking a little bit more cautious now, obviously starting to feel a little bit more tired as the competition moves on. Desperately being very careful with the grip positions, pulling through, looking to lift. White looking to get underneath his bigger opponent, Red using his bulk well. White takes him to the ground, Red turns him, he's got control of his hips with his legs around the hips, he goes into a butterfly position, seeking to sweep White over the top, but they're near the edge of the competition area, so the referee stops it and brings them back into the safety zone. Both gentlemen looking very tired at the moment. This is a big fight with big guys. Yoshin, and off they go. Both looking tired, not surprised. Nice grip, classic grip at the top. He's taking up a side position, looking to sweep the leg. Very interesting. Not square on like normal. There he goes for Ouchigari into Uchimata. Seems to be a favourite with him. Red's got the number of it though. Sinks down, looking. White's countered by standing again. He'll push one hand up and stand. There we go. Good fight. Good tactical fight. May look a little bit scrappy. That's probably because these guys are very, very good and know that one mistake will see the end of the competition for them. So off they go again. Very careful with where they're grabbing the grips. Very, very gentle, thinking, playing chess in 3 dimensions. Nice attempt, but good strong counter by Red. Pushes him to the floor. He's really using his bulk and size well there, obviously. Now seeking out the strangle. He will try and straighten out the hips or roll him. There he goes. He's trying to roll him onto his back, but White counters very well. And up they go. Both gentlemen go down to one knee as required by etiquette in order to sort out their dress. Very good, very good. It's nice to see, even when you're tired, even when you're in the heat of combat, the etiquette is very important to safety, very important to Jitsu. Very handy to have that gentleman walk straight in front of the camera as well. Lovely, here we go. And they're off again. Yoshin, little bow there, that's a nice level of respect as we start. Both big guys, but the guy in red is particularly large. Oh, nice attempt there at Uchimata, nice counter, rolls him to the floor. Didn't get a nippon, didn't get a Wazarai, but did have a good attempt at turning him over. And they're off again. Classic grips. This could go either way, this fight, it really could. Goes in from Uchimata. He does like that Uchimata just the right. Look how high he's getting, but Red's using his superior bulk and scale just to push him down to the ground. And there he is going for the strangle. White rolls through, pushing on the elbow to get maximum leverage. Beautiful technique. And they're pinning each other to the floor now. White is bridging. Red is not seeking a hold down. He's looking to strangle him at that point. I wouldn't be surprised to see him start going through. Or he's dropping into Katagatami there. No, he's working on the arm. White's bridging. You'll notice that Red has his leg through, stopping the hip movement. And the referee stops it. Both gentlemen get up, looking particularly tired at the moment. One knee, there you go guys, well done. And adjusting their dress. Referee really enjoying this one, you can tell. There's a smile on his face. They ray to each other, and the referee's seeking the judge's advice. He calls hand tie, the flags go up, and we have a decision. Ray to each other, ray to him, kicks to red, and victory to red. Nice fight, guys. Referee calls the contestants into the middle. They ray to him, ray to each other, and Hajime, the fight is on. Oh, they're not mucking around, they're really going for this one. There's lots of energy in there, nice attempt at an Ouchigari, nice attempt at coming across the legs. Oh, they really are putting some energy into this, and they're down to the floor, and both stand up, preferring to stand from front. Oh, that's a bit naughty, but Whitey's fully entitled to grab hold, and she's got her down in Kezugatami, not quite got the shoulders pinned yet. Not quite, referee. There we go, Osakomi. So White now has red pinned. She will attempt to bridge her way out. Oh, she's using the classic rocking technique. She'll likely bring her arm up and try and use that to grab beneath her leg to add power to the rock. There you go. She tries to pull her out, holding the top of her gi. And there, Tokata. She's broken the lock, but now it's back on. Osakomi. That's a really, really good hold. Lovely movement. Tokata again. This is a really good fight. And they're out of the safety area, so the referee stops the contest and brings them back into the middle. These girls are really going for it. This is an exciting fight. You see people clapping and really enjoying it. And they're ready. Little discussion. Probably a little bit of a comment about grabbing her while she wasn't ready. But it was entirely legal. The referee hadn't stopped the contest. They're back in again. Gripping, going carefully in for grips, trying to gain an advantage. And she goes for a Haragoshi, doesn't quite get it. Another Haragoshi going the other way, and they're out of the safety area, back into the middle, so that everyone is safe. That's the important thing, and they're off. There is really some impressive aggression going on here, lots of activity. Going for Haragoshi, misses it, gets countered, gets put down into Kezugatami. Not quite got full control yet, hence the fact the referee hasn't called Osakomi. There it is, now she's got it. And the arm stays over the top. Red's trying to hook a leg over White's leg to pull her hips and gain control and get herself out. She'll probably go for the rocking technique in a second. There we go, arm through that worked so well for her earlier. Rock the legs up, grab the gi and pull yourself out. Osakomi's still on, so the hold down still there. That's a very, very tight hold down. Be very difficult to get out. Red trying to twist, pulling. Oh, that's on, that's not going anywhere. What a great hold down. What great spirit, brilliant. And the referee calls time, picks them up. Both contestants go down on one knee and adjust their dress. You can see how much people are enjoying that. You can see how much energy has come out of that fight. Even the referee smiling. Ray to each other, ray to him. Ippon to work. And victory. Good fight. Lovely to see them hug after such an aggressive fight. Well done. The contestants ray into the competition area. Ray to the judge. Ray to each other, and then Hajime. Oh, that's nice to see. Sportsmanship, even at this level, is good. It reflects what's been happening all weekend, and this is quite a tactical battle. A little bit like chess in 3D as they seek the most advantageous grip. Red looking for a sweep. Both staying quite upright, very, very careful about where they place their hands. Oh, White goes straight to his back. Looked like it might have actually been deliberate. He's got his legs hooked over the top, controlling Red's hips, and he's seeking a strangle. Red also seeking a strangle, using his strength to pick him up and bounce him off the floor. This is, it may look like they're just sitting there and doing nothing, but the tactical battle is really quite fascinating here. He's now gone to an open guard. He's going to put his hips on. He's going to put his feet on his hips if he can. No, he can't get there, so he's trying to control. You can see them both trying to change. White rolling his hips from side to side. Now he has full control at the bottom there, and you see Red counter by pushing White's leg back out. This is all about getting control of balance, posture, and the hip position to enable you to go to a finishing technique. It may look like they're just rolling around, but these guys are really thinking out there. White again trying to get his leg across so that he can control Red's leg and flip him over onto his back. Obviously very comfortable fighting off his back. Red not even attempting to pass what would be called the guard in MMA, but not even attempting to pass the legs in judo terms. And again, both looking to get to a very very simple finish position with a strangle, which can come on in a matter of seconds. Now, if you're sitting outside and don't know your way around judo, this probably looks a little bit dull. But if you do know, it was actually quite a good tactical battle. However, the referee's had enough, he stood them up, and we're going to start again. Great. Little chat to them, and Yoshin, off we go. And we're back to the grips. Again, the grips very important in judo, allow you some great advantage. Reg going for a Diashi Barai. White flicking his leg out, but not really committing to it. Red almost caught him with Diashi Barai there, turning in for Uchimata, missed it. White countered. This is quite good, actually. They're moving much faster than I would expect for guys of this size. Looks, he goes in there, doesn't quite get it. Both trying to sweep up through with Diashi Barai or variations thereof. And in we go for Ochigari. White counters quite nicely. Both step out, look up. You can see him trying to break the grip on the wrist. These are two very large guys. Really fighting, really trying to seek advantage with those grips, which are all important. Absolutely important. Very tactical. Getting a little close to the edge there. Back into the centre. Both going for trips, both neither getting the advantage. It's a bit of a shame. Almost goes in for a hip throw there, but got countered on the way in. They're getting very close to the edge of the competition area. The referee's likely to stop them if they go much further. Likely to stop them at any moment now. There we go. He's going to pull them back into the safe zone. The red mats signifying the danger area when they step outside of that or onto them. The referee also always gives consideration to stopping the competition, bringing them back in. And the white goes down on one knee to adjust his dress, as does red. This also gives the guys a much earned rest, because this sort of fighting, even with just the grip battle, is incredibly tiring. Incredibly tiring. Yes, taking his time doing the belt, getting as much oxygen into his body as he possibly can, and who can blame him? And they're ready to restart. And Yoshin. Off they go, nice little ray to each other, and again back to that tactical battle of grips. Very, very careful, very cautious, both of these, obviously well matched, which makes it quite difficult. It's a bit of a shame because, as in most combat sports, a mismatch is often the most entertaining of fights to watch, but this is fascinating. Both just waiting for the other to make a mistake or give an opportunity, and it'll all be over. Diashi Barai attempt there again with red. White seeks to go down, maybe going for a Tomonagi, but he seems to be very comfortable on his back. Look at him controlling Red's hips with his feet. But the referee not happy that anything's going to go anywhere from there, so stands them up and starts again. And back to the grip battle. Pulling him down, pulling him down. He turns in. He's going for Soto Makakomi there, didn't quite get it. Red goes over the top, rolls, going for the strangle, hooking his legs over. Definitely seeking the strangle there. Is he going to get there? Is he going to get this right on the edge of the safety area? So if he's going to get it, he needs to get in. Yes, he did. And you saw White tap out. That was a beautiful strangle. Taking him out, using the gi across the body, controlling him with his legs. Look at that. They get up. Lovely hug. Fantastic to see. Look how much people have enjoyed that. All the clapping in the background. And Red's really pleased, jumping up and down. White, quite rightly, taking time to recover and correct his dress before the decision is made. Probably also just getting a little bit of recovery from having nearly been strangled out. Great fight, guys. Great fight. Ray to each other. Ray to the referee. Ippon to Red. A well-deserved victory. And a nice hug. Good shake of the hands. You can see how much that means. Medals are awarded for individual competitions throughout the weekend, but at the final lineup we have the awards for the open competitions and also the Jitsu promotions that have occurred at that particular Nationals. So an extremely important event where people can be brought out in front of their peers and given the recognition they deserve.
2 days ago, when I was day before on my way here, very nervous. I was a bit, oh, do I really want to do this? What if I get hurt? But I've got some bumps, I've got a couple of bruises, but I'm definitely coming back for the next one. It was brilliant. It's just adrenaline.